Good evening. My name is Andrea Palmer, and I'm part of the Housing Department here to present to you the mid-year reallocation agenda. This is in reference specifically to the CARES Act Emergency Solutions Grant, otherwise known as ESGCV, and the regular Community Development Block Grant, otherwise known as CDBG. The purpose of this mid-year reallocation is that funds are subject to timeliness requirements and spending deadlines. Therefore, evaluation of projects must be considered this time every year. Also, CDBG partners have an average of 12 months to complete activities in general. ESGCV is a one-time allocation from HUD, and we have until September 30th to complete all projects and expend all the funds. Additionally, council action is required for changes to activities or funding per our citizen participation requirements. Our citizen participation plan requirements. What a handful. Slow or no performing projects must also be identified as projects that are able to utilize funds to meet timeliness requirements and spending deadlines need to be analyzed. Additionally, higher performing projects that could utilize the funds must also be identified. And we have done that, and they are located in Attachment 1 for review and consideration. The CDBG reallocation budget is as follows. The Thrive Mentorship Project and the playground projects, in addition to the rehabilitation loan program, have all been canceled. And the Thrive Mentorship Project being canceled in the amount of $20,000 has been reallocated or is being proposed to be reallocated to the Cuesta del Mar Pocket Park. Unfortunately, Thrive was unable to comply with documentation requirements, therefore they could not move forward throughout the year. As for the three park playground projects, these are projects that were funded this year. However, there are 3 of 9 projects that were funded within the past 4 years. And the others in prior years are moving forward. Unfortunately, these ones were unable to start throughout the year. And then the rehabilitation loan program was a project that was halted due to a HUD monitoring review, and therefore no funds were expended throughout the year. Therefore, we have a reallocation amount of $720,953. And I should mention that between the playgrounds and the rehabilitation loan program, there's $700,953 that is being proposed for a housing acquisition or a site acquisition for housing. As for the ESGCV budget, the total award was $5.2 million. Over $1.2 million has already been expended to emergency shelter services. So the balance that we're talking about at this point is the remaining $4 million proposed for specific projects that prevent, prepare, and respond to the impacts related to COVID. We're also taking time to identify the specific organizations that are receiving these funds as well. The ESGCV budget overview, there are 4 areas that ESG funds in general can fund. That's administration and planning, emergency shelter services, street outreach, and tenant-based rental assistance. As for the administration and planning, we were allowed to spend up to 10% of the entire award provided to the city for administration and planning. However, that was substantially reduced to $51,090 for the 2 staff people in the homeless division. So $21,090 is going to the homeless assistance coordinator and $30,000 to the homeless assistant. For emergency shelter services, Mercy House is receiving $1.5 million. That's the original K Street site. $700,020 is going to Mercy House on the Powell side, which is the K Street side across the street. And $20,000 is going to Mercy House for maintenance, and that's for both sites. $52,000 is going to Turning Point Foundation. This is a continuation of funds that they received from 2020. They received a separate award in 2020, and this is a different award in the amount of $52,000, but it's going to tackle onto that same project. $548,000 is going to the Ventura County Health Services Agency for emergency shelter services, and that total thus far is $2.8 million. However, the unallocated funds will also be tackled onto this amount, which is forthcoming. The street outreach is as follows. The Ventura County Health Agency Services also has an outreach program. They are being awarded, or they're being proposed to be awarded $120,000. And the Salvation Army was proposed at $143,000. The tenant-based rental assistance is proposed at $200,000. This is for the Forward Home program that they provide, assisting with rental deposits and rental assistance. And the specific reason that we're here is because there was an unallocated amount in the amount of $651,000 in the prior presentation for these funds. We have now identified a project that is the Ventura County Health Services Agency, their emergency shelter for the $651,589. That will bring their emergency shelter program up to $1.2 million. So the Housing Department is asking that City Council conduct a public hearing and receive public comments relating to the following documents to be submitted to HUD for the First Amendment to the 21-22 Annual Action and Funding Plan to close and reallocate slow or no spending activities within the CDBG program to projects moving forward between now and the close of the fiscal year, and to further define the activities within the emergency shelter ESGCV program with specific funding awards to both described in Attachment 1. It is also asked that Council approve the updated changes and activities pertinent to this mid-year reallocation as described in Attachment 1, and the 21-22 Annual Action Plan and the 2020 amendment to its Annual Action Plan. It is also asked that Council authorize the City Manager and his designees to execute the required applications, certificates, and other pertinent documents to the submission of the 21 Action Plan to HUD and the Second Amendment to the 2020 Annual Action Plan related to the ESGCV program. It is requested that Council authorize the City Manager and his designees to execute the appropriate agreements with CDBG and ESGCV partners, consultants, and contractors, and the ability to adjust any future funding of the mid-year activities not to exceed $50,000 if these programs require more or less funding to meet their objectives. It is requested that Council authorize the City Manager and his designees to incorporate any recommended changes resulting from public input to the amendments to the 21-22 Annual Action Plan and the 2020 Action Plan as directed by City Council, including amending any budget appropriations approved by Council. And it is requested that Council authorize the Finance Department to make the necessary revenue and expenditure changes to the fiscal year 22 budget, reflecting the amended budgets for CDBG and ESGCV reallocations described in these mid-year budgets. This concludes our presentation, and staff is here for any questions that Council may have. Thank you.